Hey folks, so Oath is one of those games that seems like it's going to be pretty easy going. I mean, the art is really cute and there are a lot of rules. Most of them seem pretty straightforward. But then you get it to the table for the first time and you might find yourself a little confused as to why you should do any of the things you can do. So with that in mind, here are my top 5 beginner strategy tips for Oath. An easy choice early in the game is to take the search action. Getting cards is almost always a good thing, and doing it early means that you can draw from the world deck at a reduced rate. As for the cards themselves, there's all kinds of stuff you can do with them. I mean, let's say you draw a good battle plan. Well, maybe you should keep it in your advisors because that way no one's ever going to be able to use it. Or maybe you draw a card and maybe it works with your synergy, but you don't really need it. But also, hey, maybe other people aren't going to benefit from it that much either. In that case, don't even worry about it. Throw it on the board, get yourself a free coin. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff that drawing cards gets you. But one of the best things it gets you if you're in exile is visions. Because if you get a vision card, that is a potential path towards victory for you. The only thing I would say though is if you get a vision, you might want to keep it face down until you absolutely need to reveal it. That way other players won't know exactly what you're working for until it's too late. Favor is very important in this game, and it can sometimes be difficult to come by and easy to lose. Figuring out how to get money in this game is vital because it's used for a lot of actions and denizens. Now, you could put a couple denizens of the same suit in your advisors and try to just milk one favor bank for all it's worth, but unless money is getting put back in, that well's going to run dry a lot faster than you want. You could put your own money back in, spend it on secrets or warbands, but it's often better to try and identify an action card or two that other players are spending a lot of money on, and then try to match that suit in your advisors with at least one denizen. That way, the money is flowing away from your opponents and into your pockets. With everything going on across the map, it might be tempting to try to compete in a lot of different arenas simultaneously, but that path often leads you not being able to compete anywhere. Oath is more about light specialization. For example, if you pick up a bunch of secrets just because you can, but then you don't really care about the banner of the darkest secret, well, that may have been wasted effort. Once you find an avenue towards victory, it's often best to focus your efforts pretty much just on that. Yes, you may need to attack someone in some other area to stop them from winning in the meantime, but for the most part, try to keep your eyes on the prize. One thing that I've seen happen a lot in this game is that people will make a play that, puts them in the lead, puts them one step away from winning, but doesn't put them in a position to actually hold on to that advantage. Let's say you're trying to rule the most sites. Well, as soon as you do that, you got a target on your back. And your weakest sites are going to get attacked. Because winning in this game almost always requires you to stay in the lead for a full round, you better be able to hold on to that lead. So unless you're desperate, you should always try to have just a little bit more than just enough, resources or military might, whatever. Just have just a little bit more than you need before you make your big play. Attacking someone in Oath, especially a small scale fight where each side's only rolling a few dice, isn't that scary. In fact, it can often be pretty predictable. I'm not going to go into the math, though I'll put a link in the description if you're curious. But suffice to say, if you are on the attack, you want to bring in about as many attackers or more as the opponent has defenders plus defense dice. Now, if they're rolling like 5 or 6 defense dice or more, yeah, that's where things can escalate very quickly. But also keep in mind that the more attackers you bring, the more warbands you can lose to increase your damage. Meaning that the advantage often goes towards the attacker. Just make sure you can afford to lose the warbands you're sacrificing. And those are my top 5 beginner strategy tips for Oath, but there is one more thing I want to say. Now, when you're playing this game, yeah, you're gonna want to win, obviously, but for me, the story that unfolds is more important than optimal strategy. One of my favorite experiences in this game was when, after being betrayed, a player just passed their turn and let the next player win. Because, yes, they probably could have fought back and maybe won in the future, but for them, it was more important that the betrayer, who may or may not have been me, didn't win. It was a huge surprise and everyone at the table loved it because it was the perfect end to that story. This is all to say, don't worry too much about playing the best you can play, especially in your first couple games. But if you really do want to win, I do have a couple links in the description that might help you do that. And I want to give a big thanks to my Patreon backers who are able to watch this video a month before anybody else. So if you want early access to my strategy videos, if you want to help me decide which games I teach, or if you just want to support the channel, why don't you head on over to the Patreon and become a rules lawyer. Either way, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.